edition of the J Area Wrestling Show. Another Sunday here on a live stream, welcoming you here to another edition of the live stream. Appreciate you guys again stopping by and hanging out with me here on a Sunday evening. A lot to talk about in this live stream. Given that, of course, we know that AEW Dynasty is currently on air as we speak, but due to scheduling and doing the working, wasn't able to catch the first half, but we'll catch the replay when that comes. As we get more people here joining the live stream, we'll also discuss other topics going on in the world of pro wrestling. I mean, obviously, in the title, you saw it. Kevin Owens having a major injury sustained over the last couple of weeks, something he's been dealing with for the last couple of months, I should say, but really details have come out, just as of late. We saw on Friday Night SmackDown the segment between Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton. Obviously, Ray Fenix made his long awaited debut in the WWE. Hopefully, going to have a long and fruitful career. A great start for Phoenix, just like Penta, his brother, having a great start on Monday Night Raw. But we're going to wait for more people here to join us on the live stream and share their thoughts and opinions on the world of pro wrestling. But just to open up the live stream here, thinking about Kevin Owens, when I had watched the episode of SmackDown and seeing Nick Aldis come out and address the fans and talk about that matchup that had already been scheduled for WrestleMania. It was already announced. Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens was going to be the big payoff for their feud that they've been building up for really the past year since WrestleMania 40. And hearing him discuss the nature of Kevin Owens' availability for WrestleMania and bringing him out, and Kevin Owens immediately getting on the microphone and discussing the injury, discussing how disappointed he was that he would not be able to get in the ring with Randy Orton at WrestleMania. And for me, again, trying to stay away from the dirt sheets and the rumors and innuendo on online, it was a little eerie for me. It was almost as if I didn't believe it. You couldn't tell. Was this writing that line of fact and fiction? What was kayfabe? What was a work? What was a shoot? And listening to that promo, it was like, is this part of the story? Or is he pulling a fast one on us here and having someone like Randy Orton come out and address these rumors? Shout out to the hearts in the chat. Appreciate you guys. Address these rumors and again pull a fast one like AJ Styles last year, like Mark Henry back in 2013 on John Cena, and maybe reveal that he wasn't actually injured and attack Randy Orton, only adding more intensity to their matchup at WrestleMania 41. But we never got that. We never got that. We had Kevin Owens opening up to the crowd and discussing how he's had this serious neck injury and he doesn't know when he's going to be coming back. That he knows he won't be able to compete at WrestleMania. So as it stands, Randy Orton does not have an opponent at WrestleMania 41. Kevin Owens then leaves the ring, makes his way back up the ramp, going to the backstage area. And there was an interesting interaction there between he being Kevin Owens and a fan in the audience. You saw the camera pan over to Kevin Owens and he quickly doubled back and headed in the direction of said fan. And I remember watching this and thinking, whoa, like the camera wasn't panning to them. Something had happened. Obviously, if you saw the video online, apparently a fan had said something that really struck a chord with Kevin Owens, which really in that moment isn't cool, dude. I mean, that's terrible. Kevin Owens is out here doing everything he can to entertain the fans, continuing his passion of pro wrestling, and you're gonna kick him while he's down. I mean, come on. We're better than that as people. We're super better than that. Shout out to Dion here in the chat, says, get well, Kevin. Absolutely. If that was the last time we saw Kevin Owens in a ring, being his matchup at Elimination Chamber with Sami Zayn, what a way to go out. But absolutely, we hope for the best for Kevin Owens. AJ in the chat as well says Randy to interfere with Cody and John. It's a possibility if they go the route of bloodline rules and have a lot of people interfere. I could definitely see someone like Randy partaking on the behalf of Cody Rhodes. I think it's very much a possibility, AJ. What's up, Dion? Dion says, what's up? What's going on, my friend? Appreciate you. Kylie Rose, what's going on? Welcome to the chat. Also says Kevin. Absolutely. Oh, nothing but well wishes for Kevin Owens. I mean, one of the best of this generation. A former NXT champion, US champion, Intercontinental champion, tag team champion, Universal champion. This guy is one of the best that the WWE has signed in the last decade for sure. I dreamt that AJ. Yeah. No, I mean, it's a possibility for sure. Dion says someone from the inside leaked his injury before it was even out. He was furious. I don't blame him. That's another thing, too, in this day and age of pro wrestling. We know the dirt sheets. We know the online speculation is going to be there for sure. It's always been like that. It'll always continue to be like that. But it's a shame when it's something like this. Kevin Owens had talked about how he was upset that someone had leaked that information and that he did not have that opportunity to share it with his fans, to share it with the public. He wanted it to come from him. And we didn't get that. Instead, we got the online discourse on Twitter, on YouTube, on TikTok, wherever you consume your pro wrestling news, hopefully here in the J Area Wrestling Show. But we try not to break the rules like that. And for Kevin Owens, I mean, someone who is dedicated to his craft, someone who is dedicated his life to this. I mean, he's been doing this for 2 decades now. I mean, across promotions like Ring of Honor, PWG, NXT, WWE, Kevin Owens is a lifer when it comes to pro wrestling. So for someone to do that and take that away from him, quite frankly, it's a shame. It's a shame. And it's like I said, we're in this world where people are trying to do it for the clickbait. They're trying to do it for the views, for the engagement. And I mean, I'm no different. I mean, obviously, we're trying to run a business here. We're trying to get a channel going, but there are certain, I feel, certain things you don't do. You know, it's just that common courtesy to other people, and that's why we can't assume things. When we talked about how Kevin Owens was injured, and we didn't know for sure, and I wanted to hear from him, and we did, and we got that answer from him. And as we said in the chat here, we wish him nothing but the best. Hopefully, he's able to have a healthy recovery and do what he wants. Whether he wants to come back to pro wrestling or hang him up here, it's all in his power. It's all in his decision. And I think we as fans of Kevin Owens, should support that absolutely. I see Dion here says, bro, say what you want about the unprofessionalism about Charlotte and Tiffany off script. It was needed. I'm invested now. You can book it. Stephen A. voice. I think that's a fantastic point of view here by Dion. I mean, heading into we'll call it the via satellite interview from a couple weeks ago, Tiffany and Charlotte didn't really mesh well. I think this was certainly a feud that had all the possibilities to be successful. The story was there. Charlotte Flair, one of the 4 horsewomen in NXT, one of the standard bearers of the women's division and moving forward in the women's evolution, taking time away. And in her absence, we see this rise of talent. And Tiffany Stratton was one of those women that really rose to the occasion. So they could have told this story of how Tiffany was basically taking her spot. And it's like, Charlotte, you're not here. You're not here. I'm here. We don't need you anymore. And they definitely could have went that route. Instead, it hasn't really been that. And it's been lacking that intensity. It's been lacking that intrigue by the audience. And then you go to that split screen interview a couple of weeks ago, and Charlotte catching Tiffany off guard. And I'll just chalk that up to the fact that Charlotte's a seasoned veteran. It's in her blood. She knows how to work a promo. And Tiffany, this is her first time really on the big scene. She's going into her first WrestleMania matchup here as the women's champion against Charlotte Flair. To me, she looked like she was out of her element. And going into this other segment here on this past episode of Friday Night SmackDown, I was a little trepidatious. You know, I was a little hesitant, hoping that she would do better for sure. And I think she did. I think we saw this as an opportunity for Tiffany Stratton to elevate herself into that echelon of like, hey, I can hold my own against the best of them. Charlotte Flair in the promo, though, I will get to the other comments here in the chat, but I just want to get this off my chest here. Charlotte Flair in the promo, I think, came off super unlikable. And I get it, she's a heel for sure. But there are certain things heels do to be a heel. And when she started going the route of like the squeaky voice and mimicking and mocking at Tiffany Stratton, I don't know about you guys, I thought that was kind of lazy. I thought that was just something for her to say as a means to try to get that heat. I wasn't a fan of it. I thought it was kind of cringe, quite frankly. And just looking at it, it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. Then we get to the point where Tiffany Stratton makes that line or makes the comment about how at the end of WrestleMania, Charlotte will be like she is in regular life, in real life, and that's alone, which is obviously a direct shot at Charlotte Flair and her divorce with Andrade, and made the comment of what is it now, 0-3, again alluding to her previous marriages, and it got ugly real quick. And then the quick quip by Charlotte about, is that why Kaiser's in my DMs? It spiraled out of control. Unprofessional probably is the word to use here. Both women went into business for themselves, and I understand, again, online discourses, there's a little bit of heat with both women. With that being said, though, this segment did it for me. It was a little messy, a little dramatic, but I'm intrigued now. It's certainly got me invested in the matchup. I want to see this match. Are we going to see some heavy hits by Charlotte or by Tiffany? I'm more inclined to look forward to this matchup than I was prior to Friday Night SmackDown. So with Dion saying, I'm invested now, you can book it in Stephen A's voice, I'm entitled to agree with you. I'm looking forward to it. Dion says, didn't see SmackDown, seen the highlights, but what do you think of the Punk favor? It's kind of obvious, but didn't need any extra sauce because the favor is going to provoke some WrestleMania chef kisses ending. We talked about this here on previous streams. I know there's been some people here. Gianna Forever was the main one here, really championing the idea of Punk getting in that title matchup of Cody versus Cena. I personally think it was a little bit of convoluted details there. I think it's a little bit too much going on. I've always thought it's either going to be a championship opportunity down the line, maybe not at WrestleMania, but down the line, or it'll be the services of one Paul Heyman. And on SmackDown, it was revealed that Punk wants Heyman in his corner at WrestleMania. It makes all the sense in the world to me. Sometimes the obvious call is the right call. I do think, Dion, that you are correct here, where yes, it may have been the obvious answer, but now it's adding that extra layer of division between the three participants and Paul Heyman, essentially, as well. Are we going to see Paul Heyman full-fledged turn on Roman Reigns? Is he going to betray Punk with this favor? I know some people are talking about a possibility with Seth Rollins. It is a necessary ingredient into the meal, but we don't know what the meal is just yet. It's still cooking, if you will. We have all the ingredients here, but we don't know what the outcome is going to be. Very intrigued to see how that triple threat match plays out as the main event of night one for WrestleMania. AJ says Charlotte needs to just be a workhorse. Good one there, AJ. The thing with Charlotte, though, and we've talked about this again on previous streams, even with my family, who have become really invested in the world of pro wrestling these last couple of years. I think we can all agree that Charlotte, I will say Charlotte's one of the best. I don't have any reservations in saying that. I believe it. But I do think that it's like, you don't have to remind us all the time. Her consistently being in the title picture, consistently winning the championship. It's like, we get it. We get it. I think Tiffany needs this win a whole hell of a lot more than Charlotte does. If they want to have Charlotte win the title, totally fine. Do that down the line. I think Tiffany really needs this victory more than Charlotte, if anything. Kaiser said, don't toot your own horn, Charlotte. You're not that good. They said they both were stuttering. Dude. And shout out to Kaiser here, who was quick on the horn here on Twitter, saying, don't flatter yourself, I think might have been the direct quote here. But I saw also somewhere that Ludwig Kaiser might be the first guy to be accused of cheating, and nobody believes it, and they're on the side of Kaiser. So, I mean, it's wild. It was a wild accusation. It was certainly something that was thrown there in desperation. I would love to see what the next segment is going to be like with those two women, though. And if it's going to be in ring, or if it's going to be, a split screen interview again, I certainly think they're going to, they got to capitalize on this, though. There's so much intrigue, there's so much attention. So, Seth reminded people of when Cena exposed The Rock for writing his promo on his wrist. Yeah, I mean, again, another moment where it was like a gotcha moment. They caught him off guard, and we still talk about that promo to this day, the John Cena one on The Rock. And I think this is another one that we might be seeing down the line as well. I'm not saying it's going to get to the point where it's like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, but I would not be surprised if this is like the catalyst of a lifelong feud between Charlotte and Tiffany. This is how grudges are made, or this is how money is made, and we capitalize on these feuds. It's a possibility, but I think it's great for WrestleMania. It's great publicity for Mania for sure. I think a cool interference would be nice, like her husband's interference last WrestleMania. But at the same time, AJ, it's got to be warranted. It's got to have a reason, and I don't see any reason for Michelle McCool to be involved in any of these matches. At least with the Undertaker, you can make sense of it. He had a history with The Rock. For me, it would have made sense with Steve Austin to take the Undertaker spot, but the way I make sense of it is the Undertaker was defending the honor of WrestleMania. He is the conscience of the WWE, had the greatest streak of all time at WrestleMania. It was him ensuring that the main event of WrestleMania 40, arguably one of the biggest WrestleManias of all time, would not go down the way it did. He had a legitimate reason, I think. With Michelle McCool, I mean, I don't know. She would have had to have been introduced already, and she hasn't. Messy, in which Cena did reveal that he was an asshole move on his part because of what? Oh yeah, everybody's working as one. Don't put your team out there, especially in this business. That's why I believe to your story about the Ultimate Warrior having backstage heat, and now Charlotte could have the same heat. And it's a bad look on Charlotte to be unprofessional because it's not the first time we saw her interaction with Nia Jax during her first run of the WWE. There was that moment with Becky Lynch and they were trading the titles and she threw it to the ground. It's not the first time. It won't be the last time. I just think Charlotte needs to lose. I think so. Especially for someone like Charlotte who has been there for what? Over 10 years, is a veteran, was raised around the business. It's like you got to have a little bit more respect, Charlotte. And by no means am I saying that she needs to apologize to Tiffany. I'm not saying that because Tiffany again is still working her way up. But just for the sense that it's WrestleMania, this is the biggest time of the year for the WWE. It's the most business they've done in recent memory. It's not a good look. It's not a good look for Charlotte. Or like Jade and Shayna Baszler, is it real? Oh yeah, is it real or will they make a story out of it? Is it kayfabe? We'll see. I guess. I think some of the greatest feuds though have that sense of realism in the feud. With Shayna and Jade, I would not be surprised if that's something we revisit down the line and we make allusions, some comments about those accusations, about the heat between the two. Sometimes I think the best feuds have that dash of realism in them. AJ asked, did he hide it with his wristbands? Are we talking about who? The Rock? If we're talking, I mean, because The Rock, he didn't have wristbands at that time. John Cena had the wristbands. And even then, it's like, I think John Cena's at that point where he didn't really need to write it down. He was there day in and day out every show. So it's like he had the muscle memory, he had the reps. For The Rock, he hadn't been in the WWE for nearly 7 years. I mean, he had left in 2004, made his return in 2011. So, I mean, that's 7 years. Granted, he was working in Hollywood. He had his way around the scripts that he was dealing with, but everyone knows it's a different line of thinking in the WWE when you're in the middle of the ring in front of a live audience and having to, you know, go toe to toe with some of the best on the microphone. And Cena caught him lacking, and Cena called him out on it and took advantage of that. Big whoop to John Cena. I thought John wrote it. No, 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 no. The Rock during those promos in 2011 had, I believe it was 2011, 2012, in the lead up to WrestleMania 28, that he had written some notes on his wrists. John had rap skills, yeah, exactly. And John Cena, who was notorious for his freestyle raps, as the doctor of thugonomics, he would be one of the last guys I would think needing to write some type of notes on his wrists for a promo. John Cena doesn't strike me as that type of an individual. But again, we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to when The Rock is going to be coming back because John Cena had turned on the WWE universe and the WWE fans because they don't use the word universe anymore, thankfully, but I'm so used to it. And we haven't seen The Rock yet, so we'll see when he pops up. I'm thinking WrestleMania 41 at the very least. He'll have to be there. It's the biggest show of the year. It's in Las Vegas, Nevada. So we look forward to that. But going back to Friday Night SmackDown, I want to hear from you guys. What were your thoughts on the debut of Ray Fenix? You know, Ray Fenix or Ray Phoenix, however you want to pronounce it. I usually say Phoenix because I'm from the area. But what were your thoughts on the debut? I think it was a great showing for Ray. um, the hype, the anticipation that was surrounding his arrival in the WWE, and I think it's the right call to have him on SmackDown and have Penta on Raw. Have the two kind of build themselves up into the mid card, develop a following with the crowd, so that whenever they do potentially return as the Lucha Brothers, it means all the more. He had a great showing there. Again, in his debut against Nathan Frazier, who I think was a great choice of an opponent for Ray Phoenix. I mean, the contrast in styles, very speedy type of a matchup, and something that was highlighted with a lot of lucha libre and a lot of athleticism. So a great showing there by Ray Phoenix. I think it was a great debut. I'd have to agree with you, AJ. But do you think John was better in his match with Eddie or with Benoit? Um, I'm gonna have to go with Eddie. Honestly, I was more of a fan with the Eddie stuff. I'm watching Santi's app right now. He's rating in-ring wrestlers. His from Hall of Fame to trash. His Hall of Fame list is Chad Gable, EO AJ, Motor City Machine Guns, Dragon Lee Andrade, Mello, Finn, JD, Gunther, Ilya, Gargano, KO, and Valkyria. I agree for most of these. Yeah, I mean, Chad Gable's great. EO, I think, is the best women's wrestler right now on the roster. I'm a big fan of AJ Styles. He's definitely one of the greatest of all time. Motor City Machine Guns, again, grew up a big fan of them in TNA. Dragon Lee's an interesting choice. I think he certainly has the potential, but they don't portray him as such. So it's difficult for like the casual fan to see that and be like, oh yeah, Dragon Lee. They don't really highlight him as such. Andrade, I don't know if I put him in a Hall of Fame, but I certainly would put him in that upper tier. Mello, I think that's super like that's really high for him. Uh, Finn, yeah, I love Finn. JD, Gunther for sure. Ilya, Gargano, KO, Valkyrie. Yeah, those are great. How dangerous do you think the 619 is? When done right, I mean, it can be. I mean, when I think of that, and in no way is this supposed to be, funny or poking fun or humorous, but look at what happened to Perro Aguayo, who in Mexico fought against Rey Mysterio, and Rey Mysterio, hits a drop kick, and Perro Aguayo uh, collapses against the ropes, and he legitimately, doesn't make it. I don't know what the ramifications are on YouTube for me to use such language, but it's like he, in the middle of the ring. And it can be a very dangerous move if not protected, if not conducted in a safe manner. That's obviously speaking in a legitimate sense, in the sense of like pro wrestling. It's ironic because I've heard the conversation that is the 619 his finish or the signature, because he never hits the 619 and then gets the pin. It's always the 619 followed up with a frog splash or with the West Coast pop or dropping the dime. He never hits the 619 as a finish. So it's like, does that make it the signature? And I think that's a very good point, an interesting point made by the by an audience member. Shout out to Nolan in the chat there. What's going on, my friend? Welcome to another Sunday edition. Hopefully the weekend has treated you well, my friend. EO Sky Hearts Joe. Oh, dude, I love EO Sky. That's my girl. You know what I mean? She's one of the best that I've ever seen in WWE. Certainly has earned this world title reign. Love Bianca, love Rhea, but at WrestleMania 41, I'm pulling for EO. I think AJ Styles is more dangerous if done incorrectly. The Styles Clash. Yeah, I mean, because Styles Clash, if you don't tuck in that chin, it's like, good God, like you can really suffer a bad injury. AJ Styles, yeah. Dan says, so again, I miss SmackDown, so I think for WrestleMania, Triple H and Randy may cut a promo leading to some kind of match for night 2, or someone coming back or debuting, or Randy turns heel maybe, but it's a reach. It's interesting, because they really could do a lot with Randy Orton. I don't know if Triple H makes an appearance on TV. He could, because of his relationship with Randy, and especially because of what Randy did to Nick Aldis. I think right now the popular choices have been Aleister Black. Solo Sikoa is someone I have seen thrown out there, but some people have made the suggestion of actually Nick Aldis, who was a former NWA champion, a former TNA champion, and I think it would be an interesting matchup because they do have a history. Randy Orton has already RKO'd him in the past. So that would be very interesting, but it's difficult to book that matchup because if Randy beats Nick Aldis, it takes credibility away from the general manager. And if Nick Aldis beats Randy Orton, then it's like this guy hasn't wrestled in so long and he beat Randy Orton. I don't know. It's difficult to book Randy Orton in this position. He might just miss WrestleMania, and that's a shame. Uh, Either one, Nolan. I don't discriminate, brother. Will Nick Aldis wrestle WrestleMania? It is a possibility, but again, I look at it from the sense of booking the matchup. If he loses to Randy, he loses credibility, in my opinion. And if he beats Randy, Randy loses credibility. So it's a lose lose. I don't know. I don't know if that happens. Dethroned by Eli, but I love the question. If he does wrestle, I actually would like to see him against Adam Pearce. I think that's a more intriguing matchup because they both have their ties to the indie scene. Both former champions there, and it's a Raw versus SmackDown matchup. So if Nick Aldis were to have a matchup, I would much rather see it against Adam Pearce. Randy versus Joe Hendry. What a matchup that would be. To see the TNA World Champion at WrestleMania. Um, I don't know. Again, these are, believe me, when I say like, oh, I don't think it's gonna happen, it's not like I don't like the idea. Him versus Nick Aldis, I love it. I love it. But it's like I look at it from the stance of booking it. If Randy faces Joe Hendry, are they going to beat the TNA champion on WrestleMania? If Joe Hendry beats Randy, I think they'd have Randy go over for sure. But that would be an interesting one. I would love to see that. OMG, who has the better finish, Ray Phoenix or Penta? Because they both, watching them for the first time, are similar and really good. I see why they were partners and see why Triple H put them on SmackDown. Well, I mean, hey, they're brothers too. They got that, that chemistry between one another. Wait till you see them as a tag team. Again, if you have access to Max, go on Max and look up some of the old AEW pay-per-views and Dynamite episodes. The Lucha Brothers are certainly one of the best tag teams in the world. The better finish, though, I'm gonna go with Penta with the Penta driver. Love Ray Phoenix, but it's like I like Penta. Penta's great. But yeah, no, I'm a big fan of their work. Penta said he wants a mask versus mask match with Ray in the future. Don't know if it's real though, but that would be epic. I feel. I don't know if they'd go for it, but that would be a great matchup. Phoenix versus Penta, mask versus mask. I mean, those guys could put on a show. I know it would deliver. Ray Phoenix is super over. They both are super over, man. It's great. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan, whether it's AEW, WWE, TNA. So much excitement. I love it. Yeah, Joe Hendry RKO would be a WrestleMania moment. It would be. It would be. Adam Pearce has been general manager longer than Bischoff times 2. Let that sink in. That's actually crazy to think about. That's actually wild because for me, Eric Bischoff was that definitive, authority figure on Monday Night Raw, but he ran for like, what was it, 3 years? 2002 to the end of 05. So 3 years. Yeah, wow. That is pretty crazy to think about. He said loser has to take off the mask. Yeah, mask versus mask. And again, it's difficult to book because who would have to lose their mask? They're very much old school traditionalists when it comes to lucha libre. We don't know their real names. We haven't seen their faces. But it would be a great match. Even if it wasn't for mask versus mask, the match would be phenomenal. Aleister Black versus Randy Orton, says Gianna Forever. What's going on, my friend? Thank you for joining us again on the live stream. I think that's a great choice too. And it certainly would put Aleister Black on the map. I think Aleister Black, I think very highly of him. I loved his work in NXT, loved his work in AEW, at least the early run. They didn't really do much with him towards the end of his run there. But him against Randy would be a fantastic matchup, and I think you have to give him the win to propel him into the next set of feuds and just the level of stardom that I think he could achieve. Dominic versus Randy. Again, that'd be an easy one. The crowd would pop. I'm not opposed to it. The only issue is one's on Raw, one's on SmackDown, and I think Dominic's too busy with the Judgment Day and Penta right now, but I would not be opposed to it. Dion with a quick shout out to Teddy Long, Randy Orton. You're going 1-on-1 with The Undertaker. I used to love that Teddy Long. It was always a tag team match or a 1-on-1 match with The Undertaker. I love it. Also, that's not the only part of the favor. Remember, Paul Heyman said it's I'm there, but what's in there? It wasn't Heyman being Punk's manager. The only part of the favor, remember, Paul Heyman said it's in there, but what? But the thing is, I think we're looking too deep. He says it's in there. I think he was alluding to the fact that it's the main event of WrestleMania. I don't think we can't go too deep. I don't think I think we're reaching, to tell you the truth. I think what was in the contract is it's the main event of WrestleMania, and now the favor is Heyman has to side with Punk for the matchup. I'm taking it at face value. The favor reveal was so lame. CM Punk Heyman. Sometimes the obvious answer is the right answer. I do think though that this is going to lead to something even bigger towards the end of that matchup, though. Dethroned by Eli. I guess technically Pierce is better, but Bischoff, well, yeah, Bischoff definitely had more iconic moments. I think objectively, Adam Pierce. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but my dog over here barking. I think objectively, Adam Pierce has been the better authority figure, but Eric Bischoff has been the more entertaining authority figure, having a lot more iconic moments as well. Teddy Long as well, I think, is one of the best general managers of all time. Rusev versus Orton, a great option as well. I don't know how soon it would be for Rusev to debut, though. We don't know the timeline, but I would not be opposed to it. Tijuana Tacos, what's going on? Sunday Fun Day, brother. Thank you for joining us. Muhammad, I see you in the chat. What's going on, my friend? Dion says, Gianna, possibility Rusev is closer than not to debuting. I don't know. With all these names coming, Phoenix is coming. Well, Phoenix is already here. Aleister Black coming. Rusev. Dude, there's a lot of names coming. And it's like, where are we going to put him on the card? Is Rusev going to be a Raw guy? I kind of feel like Rusev would be a Raw guy, to tell you the truth. SmackDown right now is overloaded with a lot going on in the mid card, and they got to figure that out. They got to figure out how they want to do that. Happy Sunday on a Sunday night. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well as well, my friend. Thank you for joining us. What are your thoughts on the Undertaker being concussed when he lost the streak? It's tough. One, I think he never should have been in the position to face Brock Lesnar. I don't think that was the call. I don't think the streak should have ever ended. The fact that he was concussed during that matchup, it kind of takes it out of his hands. You got to go home. You got to protect the wrestlers. You got to protect the athletes. And if it was an audible, like let's say it was an audible for the sake of the argument, and Taker was supposed to go over, but because of the concussion, it's like, well, you got to call an audible and have Lesnar go over. Then I get it. You got to protect your boys. But it's just a shame him going concussed and having that being his last big WrestleMania matchup. No disrespect to the ones that followed, but that last one with Lesnar, I think was the last great in-ring matchup he had. You know, at WrestleMania 31, he had a good matchup with Wyatt. I won't say it was great. 32 against Shane, I can skip that. 33 with Roman, I can skip that. The Cena matchup was a squash, and then the Boneyard matchup wasn't in ring, so I can't fully count that. Although I thought it was a great matchup in itself. Randy versus Sammy is a great option here. I mean, Sammy maybe defending Kevin or Randy, calling out Sammy like, "Hey, I can't fight him. I want to fight you." That's a possibility. I'm not against that. That's a good one too. I do want Rusev by himself with Lana or Rusev Day. Let's go by himself. I kind of want to see Rusev kind of go back to the Miro stuff where he was, you know, holding the TNT title. He was the Redeemer. I want to see a monster Rusev. I don't want to see Lana. Been there, done that. As for Rusev Day, I don't think he should be a comedy character. I think he needs to go back to that ruthless version of Rusev. I would love to see Rusev as a heel. Does Sammy confront Randy? He could. Maybe Randy confronts Sammy, but I definitely could see that. I don't know how that would fit because Kevin Owens nearly killed Sammy. LOL, but to confine his friend, I don't know. It's sad, but excited to find out what's going on. Get well, Kevin. You know, but at the end of the day, we look at Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn's relationship on screen, of course. they're always going to be brothers. They're always going to fight, but they're always going to have each other's back at the end of the day. And I don't know if Sammy's the route they're going to take, but if it is, I'm not opposed to it. I could definitely see Sammy coming through and talking with Randy about like what happened with Kevin, and maybe it's just a friendly matchup, like an exhibition matchup, like how Eddie and Ray did at WrestleMania 21, where it was first built off of respect. They could go that route. But I am wondering what will happen with Sammy. He doesn't have anything going for him right now. Lana's not coming back. Only Rusev signed. Dion's right. We have not seen anything about Lana. We have seen reports being said that only Rusev signed, and I don't think we need Lana, with all due respect. Rusev's like a modern day Umaga. I mean, he could be pushed like that. I think if you're looking for something like that, that could be Jacob Fatu in terms of that role. But I think Rusev, if pushed correctly, yeah, he could fit that mold as well. I would love to see Rusev Day back. Reminds me of the Yes movement. To them, both were super over around that time. But they didn't do it. That Rusev Day stuff was so entertaining, and they kind of kiboshed it. They didn't feed off of it. It was a shame. Um, but sometimes I think you gotta let it rest, because Aiden English, who is now one of the commentators for TNA, I don't see him coming back to WWE in that role. Maybe as a one-off, as a cameo, but not in the long run. Zilla for sure would fill in that role nicely. Literally, it's in his blood. It's literally his dad, Umaga. So yeah, that would fit very well for Zilla Fatu in that role. As we talked about, AEW Dynasty is live as well. And if you're keeping score, whoever's keeping up with AEW Dynasty, if you haven't seen the predictions video that I uploaded this past weekend, do yourself a favor, check it out, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm looking at the show and I'm batting 100, literally calling every match. I think the Big Show being a Grand Slam champion makes him better than The Miz. I don't think him being a Grand Slam champion makes him better than The Miz. I do think his longevity and his contributions to the business make him better than The Miz. By no means am I saying The Miz is bad. He's not bad. He's going to go in the Hall of Fame. But I think in totality, you look at the legacy of the Big Show, and it's going to literally cast a shadow over The Miz's for sure. Muhammad, I did see your comment. Hopefully you're doing better and that the day gets better. There's still a bit of time left in the day for it to get better. Do you think that Simon Gotch was too harsh on Enzo in that interview where he calls him? Dude, that is crazy. I remember watching that shoot interview by Simon Gotch and not realizing there was so much heat there between the two. I remember their interaction during a pay-per-view event. It might have been Payback or Extreme Rules. My memory's kind of fuzzy there. It was a pay-per-view event where it was the Vaudevillains versus Enzo and Cass, and they go to throw Enzo out of the ring, and it ricochets against the rope, and he has a concussion, and I didn't realize there was that much heat. I think at the end of the day, life is too short to be that, having that much of a grudge against someone. I can't believe that he would go as far to say that about Enzo. But Enzo's his own character. We know about him out in and out of the ring, but hey. Dom says he wants to push Finn, so he is backing out of the IC title picture. I believe Finn wins at Mania, only for Dom to low blow Finn, and we get Finn versus Dom at Backlash. I think that's a great idea, Dion. I love it. My only fear, not my only fear, but I think it would have been cool to see it at WrestleMania, Finn versus Dom. But if that's the means of how we get to the matchup at Backlash, I'm all for it. Have Finn out of the Judgment Day, because I think he's capable of so much more. Love Finn Balor. He's one of my favorites, one of my all-time favorite NXT champions. And to see the lack of respect that they have given him in these last several years is criminal. So I would love to see your idea come to fruition. Have Dominic betray Finn Balor, have Finn come back as a babyface, have their matchup at Backlash. Love it. No notes. Shout out to AJ there as well, who gives some love to Muhammad. We appreciate you, brother. That pop would be crazy in Vegas as he walks off with Liv. I love it if I'm playing devil's advocate. Dude, it would be great. I'm all for it. The Judgment Day needs a shakeup. I love the members of the Judgment Day, JD, Finn Balor, Liv, Raquel, like all of them. I love them all. But it needs a shakeup. We need something fresh. Demon versus Dirty Dom. But here's the thing, Gianna, forever. I love the Demon Valor. Love it. Does he need Demon Valor to beat Dom? I think he just beat him straight up. But I would love to see Demon Valor again under the right circumstances. Can we get Jay versus Gunther versus Randy, or is it too late? It's too late, AJ. It's not going to happen. Not possible. One, because Jay and Gunther is a feud on Monday Night Raw. Randy's a SmackDown guy, as well as Jay has earned that opportunity for the World Championship. I don't see them introducing Randy. I don't see how they would introduce Randy at all into that matchup. Plus, there's already two other triple threat matches on the card. That is out of it. That's not going to happen. Dion says it's long gone, AJ doesn't fit the bill. It doesn't. It would be completely out of left field, and it certainly would take away from the bill that they have with Jay and Gunther. It's just picking up. I love what they're doing with the Jimmy Uso attack, and adding Randy into that would be so superfluous. It would be unnecessary. It would be an unnecessary ingredient that would destroy the dish that is Jey Uso versus Gunther. Sometimes you don't need to add every ingredient in the cabinet to make a meal. You just need to keep the ones that are necessary. And Randy is too good to be thrown into another matchup for no reason. Randy's the kind of guy who has earned the right to have a good, solid showing at the show of shows with someone of substance. If it was up to me, throw him in there with Carmelo. Him and Carmelo would have a great matchup, but Carmelo right now is in the mix with The Miz, which I'm not invested in. I really don't care. As of right now, it could change. It could change, but I don't care for the Miz and Melo team up. I just don't. But they can change my mind. Finn Balor versus Malachi is going to be great, especially if they do it at WrestleMania next year with awesome entrances. Love it. Love it, Salvi. That's a fantastic idea. Finn Balor and Malachi, two of my favorites coming up in NXT. Never really got that matchup between the two, but to see, even then, have Malachi Black come out like in the full, House of Black type of gear. Finn Balor comes out as Demon Balor. Ooh, buddy, I'm getting the goosebumps already. I love it. AJ versus Logan should cook. I think that match might be a low-key banger given AJ's age. He can still put on 5-star matches. Plus, did you see Logan's new finisher? Oh my god. Yeah, the what was the pulverizer, I think is what it's called. But yeah, AJ Styles and Logan Paul. I actually look forward to that matchup. Some people were saying that AJ Styles deserves better, and granted, yeah, it's AJ Styles. But I think he can have a great matchup against Logan Paul. His best matchup at WrestleMania, people argue, is against Shane McMahon. Imagine AJ versus Logan Paul. Like, I mean, say what you want about Logan Paul, but he's proven to be pretty decent in the ring. And him versus AJ, so long as AJ goes over, should be a great showing. I'm very much looking forward to that matchup. It should be a sleeper pick as one of the best matches of the card. So, again, a great point here by Dion. Thank you so much for that, buddy. But but regardless, the build to WrestleMania 41 was heavily criticized by a lot of people online, saying how it really isn't all what it's supposed to be. It's not hyped. People aren't looking forward to it. It's a little bit underwhelming compared to that of last year's WrestleMania or even the WrestleMania before. I do think, though, in the recent weeks, though, that has changed for sure. We've seen the progression in the triple threat match for the women's title. We've seen the progression between Gunther and Jey Uso. We've seen the progression of Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte. I think every single feud right now has something going for it, and I am increasingly becoming more invested in every matchup that is currently scheduled. AJ agrees. AJ got to go over. So is Fatu fighting LA Knight, or is it not confirmed yet? I believe it is confirmed, Dion. I mean, Jacob Fatu got that #1 contender spot after defeating Braun Strowman. Last time I checked, I believe it is actually scheduled for the show of shows, WrestleMania, which is great. I mean, to see the U.S. title getting some love there, I'm all for it. Oh, yeah, Salvi, the pick of Sting. Yeah, it's weird, dude. I mean, I'm all about Sting, but it's like that beard with the big shade of white and then the one flag strip, kind of jarring. It is pretty crazy. Logan Paul isn't that bad, to be honest. He's nearly not. Again, say what you want about him as a personal person, as his own person, but he's not bad at all. He's had some pretty good matches. Any reason why Jericho dropped the title to Bandito? It's mask versus title. They're not gonna have Bandito, have him lose the title. I mean, I'm sorry, have him lose the mask. Plus, Jericho's been the champion since Halloween. It was time. It was time. I think it was the right call to have Bandito go over, have Ring of Honor, have a champion that's actually a Ring of Honor, and um, again, they're not gonna take the title, or they're not gonna take the mask off of Bandito. At least maybe not yet. But again, tradition says, you don't lose the mask. US gold around Fatu around the neck. We need it, fam. Dude, I love LA Knight. That's my guy. But Jacob Fatu is going over. I cannot see him losing this matchup. And I called it. If you go back, I'm telling you, go back to the archives. There was a video that I put up there. I think it was like in November, maybe October. And I was predicting every champion, the next champion, I should say. And I had said Jacob Fatu would beat LA Knight. Granted, Shinsuke Nakamura beat LA Knight first, but then he got it back, and if Jacob wins, I'm counting that as a W. Rey Mysterio nearly lost his mask. Well, Rey Mysterio did lose his mask in 1999 against Kevin Nash and I believe Scott Hall. It was a tag team matchup between the Outsiders versus Conan and Rey. Rey lost his matchup. Everyone was against it, but the powers that be, Eric Bischoff and the NWO, said, you know what? No, you're going to lose your mask. And people still think it was the bad call. It was a bad call to have Rey lose that mask. So when he came to WWE, put that mask back on, and the merchandise was there. He was still over. He was treated as a superhero. There's money in the mask. And Logan Paul's match too. Yeah, but that wasn't like, part of the stip. We're talking about matches that it's part of the stip. What happened to Alexa Bliss? They're fumbling the ball with a few wrestlers. I'm telling you, dude. SmackDown right now is 3 hours and it's too long. It has to be a 2-hour show. But on top of that, the way this mid card is being built, there's a lot of superstars out there who are being fumbled. Melo deserves better. Andrade is MIA. I fear for Ray Phoenix, but they did a good job with him in his debut. Hopefully they keep it up. Alexa Bliss made her return, and we haven't seen anything with her. We've seen some teases with the Wyatt Six, and apparently Uncle Howdy should be good to go now due to his injury. And again, we still haven't seen anything. So I'm be honest with you, I'm a little upset about that. It's a shame for a show that's 3 hours and you can't fit time for some of these stars or have creative in place for them. I'm just hoping that after WrestleMania 41, it's kind of hit as a reset. There's obviously going to be a draft at some point in the year. And let's kind of reconfigure where everyone's position is on the card and make sure we have some creative plans for everybody. And if you don't, well, then you go NXT or hey, go sit on the shelf for a little bit while we have something for you. I don't know. Nia's dealing with an injury, I believe, too. Dion, I think you're correct as well. I could have swore I saw something that said Jax was also injured. There's a few injuries out there, and it's preventing some stars from getting that WrestleMania payday, and it's a shame. It's the time of the year you want to see everybody on their A game. And speaking of everybody on their A game, it is the month of April. A new month has started, and we do have the opportunity here to give out some free memberships to our members of the J area. Every month we are given this opportunity to gift memberships during these live streams. So I say we go ahead and why not do so, right? We're going to go ahead. Again, it's at random. I do not select who are the individuals that will be receiving these memberships. If it was up to me, I mean, hey, it'd be a very difficult decision, but luckily it is not. So we're going to go ahead and gift away 5 memberships. You get free access or exclusive access, that is, to polls, posts, pictures, as well as early access to other videos that are being produced on the channel. And obviously, we're going to go ahead and welcome some members here. DSW Wrestling, welcome. Zay Cruz, welcome. Daniel Hernandez. Johnny is also another member as well. So the Tantalizing Tag Team Wrestling Podcast have all been gifted memberships here at the J area. Appreciate all you guys for your consistent support. Hopefully you enjoy your stay as a member of the Main Event Mafia, where, like I said, you're going to get early access to some of the videos that I post here on YouTube, exclusive live streams that we're going to have coming up. WrestleMania 17. I talked about that earlier. We're going to get that going as well before we get to WrestleMania 41. You're going to have exclusive polls, quizzes, posts, all that good stuff and more if you become a member here on YouTube. Again, welcome to our friends A Cruz, DSW Wrestling, Daniel, Johnny, and the Tantalizing Tag Team Wrestling Podcast. Dion in the chat says Roxanne was supposed to be on the main roster. They sent her back. Bailey was supposed to be feuding with her, but they went away from that to put her in the mid card division and now in the tag team division. I really thought that that's the move. I thought Bailey was going to have her match against Roxanne Perez at WrestleMania, and if not, stand and deliver. But it looks like they dropped it completely, and it seems that Bailey and Lyra Valkyria are going to get a tag team title match against Raquel and Liv. I know it's not announced, but I do think that Bailey and Valkyria will win the number one contenders matchup and get that title opportunity. Do you think Ray's WrestleMania main event win mask is more expensive than his Rumble win mask on eBay? And if not either one, then what do you think is the most expensive mask? Between those two, I would have to think it's the WrestleMania one. I mean, WrestleMania 22, he goes over, wins the world title, his first world championship of his career. I don't see how it could not be that one. If not that one, Halloween Havoc 97. I feel like that one's one of the more recognizable masks, not only of his, but just recognizable masks in general. So between the two, I think it would be WrestleMania 22. And if it's not, then I would think it's going to be the Halloween Havoc match or the Halloween Havoc mask for sure. Great question there by AJ. Did you put up a poll for Thursday? I have not. I have not put up a poll for Thursday. I don't know if I will be doing a poll for Thursday. Sometimes we do, obviously, those will be like on Sundays and Mondays, but sometimes I have things in mind for Thursdays. And I kind of want to do more polls that are more associated with the videos that I post online. Because when it comes to the Thursday streams, don't get me wrong, I enjoy talking about certain topics. Like this past weekend, we did the Ultimate Warrior, but a lot of times people kind of like having the conversations about what's going on in the world of wrestling. And so I was thinking, well, what if I did those topic videos like the Ultimate Warrior as a separate entity? Or, we'll discuss whatever's going on in the news. Wrestling Jeopardy. I know that's an idea that's been thrown out there, Dion. I got to see, how I can do it to where it works for everybody. I hear you. I hear you. I love the idea, though. If Eddie didn't pass, the Benoit tragedy wouldn't have happened. Yeah, I mean, that's a good argument. Eddie was Chris's sanity anchor, and once Eddie passed, the rest was TCJ. You're on the money here. I do think that Chris Benoit, his mental health, right? His brain had suffered so much. I just feel that the loss of Eddie expedited the tragedy of Benoit. I honestly, in my opinion, I think the Benoit tragedy was a collision course. I think it was always going to happen, but the loss of Eddie expedited it. It sped it up quicker than what it should have been. Will you do one bingo? I haven't forgot about the bingos, but again, I kind of have taken some time away from them. I will for sure do one this week for you, buddy. You got it. As long as you guys want it, I'll keep doing it. And if the demand's there, then we'll do it. So yeah, I owe you that bingo, AJ. Poor Kevin Owens, who got injured in the worst possible time. It's a shame. Yeah, we wish nothing but the best for Kevin Owens, a speedy recovery. And even then, if he is able to recover, hopefully he's able to continue his career. And even if it's not, hopefully that Kevin has that opportunity to make that decision for himself. Because if there's one thing that's a shame is when someone's career is taken away from them. You want to have that ability to have that say, to be able to determine, you know what, I'm done. To have that decision taken away from you, it must be terrible. And we wish nothing but the best for Kevin. Ilya's timetable is somewhere in September as well. I don't know why I thought somewhere I saw that Ilya was going to be due back sooner than that. I'm not saying that's fact. I saw it somewhere. Ilya's another guy that I really missed. I would have loved to have seen Ilya versus Gunther for the world title on a big major stage, but we probably won't get to see that because I think Jay's going to go over. Bob Holly was supposed to see Benoit at the time of the tragedy. It's a sad story, man. You know that Benoit stuff is it's rough. It's rough. If you guys, I don't know if you guys saw, for people who are a member of the Main Event Mafia, you saw that there was an early release of Monday's video where I share my top 10 favorite WrestleMania main events of all time. If you're a member of the Main Event Mafia, you get early access to that. It's already up and available. If you're not, it will be up on Monday afternoon. Also, it's his neck too. Big E said best thing for him is his health. So in the ring possibly over, and happy for the dude from TNA who overcame his neck injury versus the Hardys. Oh, Chris Bay. Yeah. Chris Bay, who had that tribute show. They did like a show honoring him a week or two ago. Had an interview with CVV as well. Chris Bay, I mean, yeah. Um, he was momentarily paralyzed, I believe, and to see him now being able to move around the ring and maybe not be 100% yet, but again, trying to regain that strength. And if he's able to go at it again, great. If he's not, we're just happy he's able to have that mobility back. Do you think Ray's last match will be against Dominic Hair versus Mask match? I do, sadly. I think that's the way to go. Have him versus Dominic, and have Dominic get the win, and have Ray finally take off that mask once and for all and be able to live his life free. So, what's my favorite TNA moment? My favorite TNA moment. I want to say it's the Kurt Angle debut. The Kurt Angle debut, him in that face off against Samoa Joe. Um, that one's certainly up there. I also love the Christian Cage stuff when he debuted. I thought there were great moments as well. He called Jericho too, and Jericho didn't answer him. That's right. Abyss and Penta, yes, the DLC. Super excited for that as well. To see um, Penta in a WWE game, to see Abyss in a WWE game is ridiculous as well. So you better believe I'm looking forward to that as well, TCJ. I'm also bummed Bray Wyatt back with Cult Leader. Yeah, that's a shame. I love that version of Bray Wyatt, and unfortunately, it's not available. I would have loved to have seen that. Hey, Sylvia, what's going on? Sylvia says, hi, Jose, it's been a minute. It has been a minute, but I'm glad you're here, Sylvia. Hopefully you're doing well. Great to see you as well, my friend. Awesome. Always love to see one of our OGs who's been a huge supporter um, for like since day one. So we appreciate you so much. The Jay Lethal Ric Flair woo off. That's a classic moment as well. You said promo. I gotta go Steiner Math. Steiner Math is one of my all-time favorite promos. It's an iconic one. Any chance of Nick Aldis ending his time as SmackDown GM? There is a possibility. Muhammad. I don't think he's actually fully retired from in-ring competition. I could definitely see Nick Aldis getting back in the ring. Sylvia says, I joined the live late. Have you talked about Ray Fenix debut? We briefly discussed it, but I mean, for those who saw the debut, I would love to see your guys' input and what you thought about Ray Fenix. For some people who weren't familiar of his work in AEW or in Lucha Underground or in TNA, I want to hear from you guys. If you guys saw the debut, what were your first impressions? He's the brother of Penta, one half of the Lucha Brothers, is a sensational talent, and I think that matchup only scratched the surface. I'm not saying it was a bad match. It was a good match. It was an absolutely great first match for Phoenix, but I like that they didn't set the bar too high. Because Phoenix, dude, I'm telling you, man, this guy's fantastic. Some people argue he's better than Penta. I do think, Sylvia, I think it was a great call to have Phoenix on SmackDown and Penta on Raw to allow them both to get over organically with the audience, get that type of support as a singles character. Let us get invested in their character. Let's get invested in them as men. And then when it's time for them to team up, then it feels like, oh wow, like Phoenix and Ray, they're coming together, and or Phoenix and Ray, Penta and Phoenix, they're coming together and they're forming the Lucha Brothers, and it feels so much bigger than that. I love the direction they're going with it. It was a great matchup between Phoenix and Nathan Fraser, who's one half of the tag team champions down in NXT. So a great showing, Sylvia. I was a big fan of it. Loved it. Loved it. Watched it with my family. My mom went crazy. She loved it. I love that she loved it, and it was a great showing. How good was Abyss? That might be good for a live stream. I find it know him, but it was some interesting character. Plus, Joe put him, Kurt, and AJ Daniels on the Mount Rushmore. Yeah, no, but here's the thing: Abyss was like a combination of the Mankind and Kane character, and in terms of hardcore wrestling, Abyss is up there. I do think he has become a staple of TNA history. You mentioned some great names there: AJ, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle. Um, Abyss has definitely earned that right to be considered in that conversation. Abyss is another one. I mean, yeah, that'd be a great discussing point, of different matches and different characters. We recently did one on Shawn Michaels. It was like a retrospective of his career. I think that'd be cool to discuss just the overall impact of a wrestler or their careers for sure. So yeah, I'm always open to suggestions from you guys, always. Against Randy at WrestleMania 41. I do think I do think there's a chance that Nick Aldis could fight Randy at WrestleMania. My only issue is the booking of it. If Randy beats Nick Aldis, it takes away credibility from him as a GM. And he can't be the GM anymore, in my opinion. And if he beats Randy, then it's like, oh wow, the GM beat Randy, and it kind of takes away credibility from Randy. So whoever loses, it's gonna look bad. I think best case scenario, Nick Aldis gives up his career as a general manager to get this matchup, and he can go full time wrestling again. But it's a possibility, absolutely. WWE would be goaded if they would create a supermarket slash grocery store brawl like Austin versus Booker T. That would be a fun little area. They recently implemented the WWE Vault and the NXT parking lot in WWE 2K25. So yeah, I would love it. You know what would be a great idea, TCJ, is if they would take the route of like SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, where you were able to fight on the street and you would able to go to different locations. Like you would leave the arena and travel around. That'd be a really interesting um match, or yeah, like a concept I think for the game. That six-sided ring was TNA was great. It looked great, in terms of the optics. It looked great, but I heard it was a pain to work in. So maybe it's better not to have it, but it did look great. Is Jericho and Bandito fully done, or is the feud still going? I wouldn't be surprised if they had a rematch, but I think it should be done. I don't see the point of a rematch. I think the story has ran its course. If they do one more matchup just to give him his rematch clause and call it, that's fine. But I think it's done. I don't think it needs to go forward. Dion says, "My bad. That was a typo. I didn't know him, but I'm just hearing about it. This guy looked into some YouTube videos and come to find out he wrestled forever. Never really been a TNA guy, but I wish I had been." And that's the beauty of YouTube and the internet. Even if you weren't a fan of TNA at the time, you can go back and watch some of their old stuff. It's there online. You go on TNA, their YouTube channel, and they regularly upload older matches. Or if you want to subscribe to TNA, the app TNA Plus, and have like their little network there, it's a possibility as well. But yeah, no, Abyss is one of the best to come out of TNA, not AEW. They need a supermarket brawl in 2K25. That would be pretty cool. Sam, what's going on? Happy Sunday, everyone. Happy to hear from you, Sam. You've been MIA lately. I've been decreasing the level of streams because the work schedule has changed. I'm trying to stay consistent with the Sunday and Thursdays. The Sundays and Thursdays are definitely the days I don't want to take away from the live streams. But and in terms of like the video uploads, I've been doing the Mondays. Mondays have been like the best days for me to upload. But there's been like a change in schedule with work, and I don't want it to affect the channel too much. But the reality is that it does. Outside of this, I've said before, hey, I would love to pursue this as like a full-time career and just hang out with you guys, content create, react, and provide my analysis and opinion on pro wrestling. But we're not there yet, and that's totally fine. Rome was not built in a day, and so when I'm not here online with you guys, and when I'm not, you know, uh, recording and editing videos, we got day jobs, right? We all got bills to pay. They wait for nobody, but I always look forward to seeing you guys here on YouTube and all the love is there. All the love is there, and I appreciate you guys and your patience and your consistent support of me and the channel and of each other, really, because even though the channel itself has my name on it, I refer to it as the J area because it encompasses everybody. It's everybody. It's not just me, it's everybody here who has grown to become a fan of the one thing that has always brought me peace and joy, and that's pro wrestling. So shout out to Sam there. I know. I've been a little MIA, but we're trying to adjust to the schedule, and then hey, we're going. They said the bumps taken on that six-sided ring was hell. I believe it, dude, because AJ had recently done an interview with CVV and how they had done it to where, because it was a six-sided ring, it kind of intersected and crossed in certain ways to where you're landing harder on it. So I do not envy anyone that was on that six-sided ring. Dion says, happy Sunday, Sam. Happy Sunday to everybody here on the YouTube and the J area. Addie says, I'm going to WrestleMania. Are you? I am not. I will be enjoying it from my home. For those of you who already know, I've talked about it in the past. WrestleMania this year falls on the weekend of my birthday. So we're going to be spending it here with the family, kicking back, watching the show from the comfort of our home. Hopefully you enjoy this show. Hopefully you take a lot of pictures and videos. Have a great time. Enjoy it. I had the privilege and pleasure of going to WrestleMania 26. It is a memory that I cherish forever, being able to share that with my brother and my dad. So hope you enjoy the show, Addie. Awesome. Muhammad, is Kevin Owens' injury a part of the karma for injury everyone that he is in front of? I want to go here to Dion first. No, Muhammad, that's crazy to say, brother. Things happen in the squared circle. Say what you want. The moves are real, but the level of bumps and bruises those guys endure on a 52-week schedule is tough. Dion could not have said it better myself. I love that that comment. Yeah, no, I wouldn't say it's karma at all. Things happen. It's a physical sport. People are going to get hurt. And it's also important to remember that Kevin Owens and the pile driver to Cody, Randy, and Sammy, that was, part of the show. That was a work. He didn't literally hurt those guys. It's all entertainment. The Kevin Owens stuff is a legitimate injury. And we wish him the best. It's in no way a form of karma. It's just the price you pay when you are in a business that takes a physical toll on your body. And again, Kevin Owens is one of my all-time favorites, and wishing him nothing but the best in terms of his recovery. Tony Khan will F this up, but FTR versus Edge and Christian. Yeah, I love to say that Edge and Christian coming back together would be fun. But I think Christian Cage is great on his own. I'm a big fan of Cope. I mean, I should say I'm a big fan of Edge, but the Cope stuff, it hasn't really hit for me. But Cope and Christian versus FTR would be interesting. I would like to see it. But I'm with you, Sir Robert. I don't know if Tony probably will find a way to screw that up. Or not take advantage of it and put it on pay-per-view. We'll have it like on an episode of Dynamite or something. Which he should. That's a big money match. Dion says, plus, not to take into account the age and nutrition in addition to the training and sometimes even being jet lagged. Yeah, exactly. It's a physical toll. In and out of the ring. Absolutely. What do you have to say about Charlotte and Tiffany's promo? Thank you, Sam. Dion also adds, please talk about the Tiffany and Charlotte promo. I can talk about something now that's interesting. Do tell Jose. Okay, we did allude to it early on, but we didn't really dive too deep into it. I love the fact that you guys are interested in it. The Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton feud is something that I thought they had locked down and pat. This is a feud that should have been built upon the fact that Charlotte Flair is a cornerstone of the women's division, is a cornerstone of women's wrestling now, 10 years into the WWE. She had taken time away because of her injury, and in her absence, women like Lyra Valkyria, Roxanne Perez, and of course, Tiffany Stratton have stepped up. Tiffany Stratton, thank you for the hearts in the chat. Tiffany Stratton has elevated herself by winning the Money in the Bank, organically getting over with the audience, and winning the Women's Championship by defeating Nia Jax. So the story that I thought they were going to tell was that when Charlotte won the Rumble, which, by the way, I don't even think she needed to win the Rumble. I would have gave it to Io Sky. When she won the Rumble, I thought for sure, okay, this is going to lead to Tiffany Stratton for sure. And have it being said that like Tiffany is the newer version of Charlotte. And what I mean by that is she falls in line of that typical super athletic blonde that they have. And Charlotte Flair is going to come out and saying like, hey, I'm the queen. You know, she always says stuff like that. But Tiffany would say that you've been gone for so long that the division has changed. The WWE has changed. We no longer need Charlotte Flair. We don't need you to succeed in this division. I've been holding it down as Miss Money in the Bank. I'm the women's champion. We don't need you. You are the past, and I am the future. Your time is done, and it's now Tiffy's time. And I thought that was where they were going to go. But instead, they basically had Charlotte Flair demean and put down Tiffany Stratton, which is fine. She's the heel. But what I didn't like is how they placed Tiffany in this role of the inferior opponent to Charlotte. Yes, she lacks that experience that Charlotte has, but that doesn't mean you have to demonstrate it in a way where she's not a credible threat to Charlotte. So when we saw the promo, the first promo, the split screen, where I uploaded a video about it, that Tiffany looked out of place. They kind of exposed her there for a bit. Charlotte knew how to think on her feet and improvise and be able to kind of promo on Tiffany, and Tiffany wasn't there yet, and that's fine. She's learning on the job. And now they move forward with this last promo on Friday. You guys want to hear about my thoughts. And it was a level of unprofessionalism by both women. They went off script. They went into business for themselves. We saw that Charlotte, first of all, what the hell were the outfits? I'm not one to criticize someone's outfits, but am I tripping or were they wearing the same thing basically? They were basically wearing the same thing, which I thought was a choice. Besides the point, Charlotte cuts the promo on Tiffany, and the crowd won't let her speak. Big props to the Chicago crowd for booing her out of the building. I would have done the same. They won't let her speak, and you can tell, I think Charlotte, that was getting under her skin, that they wouldn't let her speak. And she kept saying, like, oh, I can't hear you, they're booing so loud. And it's like, well, yeah. One, you're the heel. Two, people just don't like Charlotte. She has this air about her that people have grown to just grow tiresome of her work. And again, I've said it in the past, Charlotte's one of the best in the business right now. But it's gotten to the point where like we already know that you don't gotta keep explaining to it. You don't have to keep her winning and winning and winning, and it gets tiresome. I want to see something new. So I see her on my screen and I'm like, I guess. But okay, not the point. Tiffany tries to retort. And Charlotte resorts to mocking her voice and calling her squeaky and squeaky. And at that point, it's coming off as cringe to me. I'm like, what are we doing? You're insulting our intelligence now as fans, and you can tell she kind of got fed up with the crowd and got fed up with Tiffany when she did that. And Tiffany Stratton, I think, took that personal as a way of like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? That's not a part of the promo here. And I love the fact that Tiffany didn't hold back and said that line of, you know, at the end of WrestleMania, this isn't verbatim, but at the end of WrestleMania, you're going to be alone like you are in real life. You know, reference the 3 divorces that Charlotte has had. And she immediately leaves the ring as a way to avoid physical, you know, confrontation between the two. And Tiffany Stratton, on her way out of the ring, Charlotte says, is that why Kaiser's in my DMs? And I thought that was just, I thought that was lazy, personally. I don't think anybody believes that Kaiser is in Charlotte's DMs. I highly doubt that. She said that just to get the big pop, just to elicit a response from the audience, and it did. It got a good response. It got a good response from me. I was like, whoa, you know. But then after, it's like, okay, like let's be real. Let's be real. He's not. No. Ludwig Kaiser is the first man to be accused of cheating and have everybody on his side and agree. No, he's not. No, he's not. There's no way. Charlotte Flair had that promo with Tiffany, and I'm now sold on the fact that Tiffany needs to win this matchup. She needs to win more than Charlotte. If Charlotte wins, I think it damages the run that Tiffany has had this last year. If they want to crown Charlotte Flair as the champion again, they can do so, but not at WrestleMania. I think Tiffany needs this win a whole hell of a lot more than Charlotte Flair. And then there was that comment where Tiffany called her a nepo baby, and you know, a nepo baby, as in the fact that it was nepotism, that she's only gotten there because of her father. But Charlotte corrects her and says nepo queen, and I'm like, okay. Again, I thought it was cringe. I was like, okay, someone punched somebody. Somebody get hit now, but it didn't go to that route. I am looking forward to the next segment between the two. And I will say this promo between Charlotte and Tiffany is exactly what we needed. It has revitalized the feud and brought a lot of attention to the match now at WrestleMania, which is what you want. I mean, the saying goes, any publicity is good publicity. And I don't know about you guys, but I do want to see this Tiffany versus Charlotte matchup now, for sure. Charlotte and Roman got the Vince McMahon push, but Roman was able to reinvent his character absolutely. Charlotte hasn't been able to do that. Yeah, no, and that's the thing too. It's nothing new with Charlotte. And another thing, when it comes to the Charlotte Flair stuff, this isn't the first time we've seen a level of unprofessionalism from her. We saw her interaction with Nia Jax, where she delivered a real blow to her face. And then the time where it was her, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch with the championships, and they were supposed to swap it, and they freaking she drops it on the floor, and it just came off super petty, very childish, unprofessional, and I'm like, they're really gonna let her get away with that kind of stuff? I'm like, dude, come on, come on. Not a fan of Charlotte. Again, I can recognize that yes, she is great, but at the same time, it's like not for me. She's my fourth favorite member of the Four Horsewomen. I like Becky Bailey and Mercedes way more than her, truthfully. When will we see Jacob Fatu versus Braun Breaker? Dion follows it up and says, knowing Hunter, this might be next year, Robert. I think Dion's right. I think we're probably going to build that up for next year's WrestleMania, especially the fact that they're both on opposing brands. I don't think that's something we're going to see, but I do think that, hey, that's a WrestleMania matchup in the future. We've seen the face-to-face, but that was really it, and we know Triple H likes the long gaming, 100% right. So I wouldn't be on the lookout for it no time soon. I'm with you, Dion. I think if anything, maybe we'll see some kind of interaction like behind the scenes. Like, let's say it's a SummerSlam, and they bump into each other for a backstage promo. Or maybe it's a Royal Rumble, and they're both in the ring and they have a stand-up. I think those are the kind of things we would see. I don't think we're going to see that matchup coming any soon. If it were to happen, maybe SummerSlam. I think that's certainly an event that would warrant that type of a matchup. But I do think WrestleMania 42, or maybe even 43, who knows, would be a bigger marquee for someone like a Jacob Fatu and a Braun Breaker. And who would go over? What a match, right? But the question is, the WWE better do something with Solo, because if not, that all that bloodline stuff would be for nothing. Dion, right on the money. Right on the money. I thought it was going to be Jacob versus Solo at Mania, but Jacob has a match with LA Knight. So what are we doing with Solo? I think maybe that's where Randy comes into play. I could see Randy and Solo having something. They still have time. They have, what, a couple weeks until Mania. It would be a tight fit, but I think Solo might miss out Mania. Truthfully, I don't see. Maybe he wins the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Maybe that's a possibility. But in terms of storylines, he's only associated with Jacob Fatu, and he's a match with LA Knight. So if anything, Dion, I think he probably wins the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, because I don't think they're going to do anything with him in terms of a match. At least not the way it looks right now. But a great point there by Dion, who says that last year with the Bloodline, it's like, well, then what are we doing? What are we doing? You're absolutely right. Another great point there by Dion. He hasn't done anything since he lost to the Ulafala. Literally, I mean, what is the point? You know, I get it. He was supposed to be the big bad for the bloodline for a minute there while Roman was gone, but now it's like, okay, that's done. How long do you think WWE will last for? And is it true Brock Lesnar really is retiring? I don't know how long. I mean, it'll certainly last past my lifetime. I don't think the WWE is gonna stop anytime soon. As for Brock Lesnar, I mean, hey, that guy who posted that picture, I don't know if it was a TikTok or a tweet or whatever, had said that Brock was retired. Never say never in pro wrestling. I think as of right now, due to the current climate of the situation with Janelle Grant and Brock Lesnar being involved in that lawsuit, I could see him certainly being done indefinitely. But if everything were to clear up and by some miracle Brock Lesnar is back in the good graces of the PR team, yeah, maybe he has another matchup. You never say never in pro wrestling. But as of right now, I would put him on that list of, yeah, he's done. Then he came out a couple weeks later and attacked Cody. That never followed through with that. Yeah, no, and I haven't forgot about that, Dion. I haven't forgot about that. When he came out and he attacked Cody, it was like, for what? Because? Just because? I did not forget about that. We never followed through with that. And that bothered me. I was like, what the? I don't know. Because people were upset, like, they're gonna go back to Solo versus Cody, which we already saw a bunch of times. Moxley beats Swerve Strickland. We pitched 100. We got them all right at Dynasty. When do you think Goldberg will have his last match, and will it be against Gunther? I think it's going to be against Gunther or Braun Breaker. I think those are the two matches that most people want to see involving Goldberg. Where will it happen? SummerSlam, maybe? I think SummerSlam is a good venue, a good show for that to happen. Would I give it to him though? I don't know if Goldberg needs the match. Truthfully, the way it went against the Fiend and the Undertaker, I kind of would be inclined to say no. We're good, thank you though. As for Gunther though, yeah, I would like to see him versus Gunther, but nah. I think they're gonna go away from Gunther, but maybe Breaker. I think that's a good choice too. I think either way, Breaker versus Goldberg or Goldberg versus Gunther would certainly be an enticing matchup to see. Which one would I want to see more? Probably Gunther because there's something there. They've already built something there. But maybe Breaker too because of his relation to Scott Steiner. So there's a little bit of history. Him and Rick Steiner, I should say, because that's his dad and his uncle. But they could go either way. Absolutely. We're going to go for another kind of 10 minutes here. We're going to hit for the 90-minute mark when it comes to these live streams. They always say it's nice to leave on a high note, and we've had some great conversations here about, Tiffany Stratton promo, Ray Fenix's debut, as well as Kevin Owens and his situation. So I very much appreciate the discussion and great input here by everybody. Johnny says, Young Bucks are back. They just hope John and Moxley win. Oh, yeah. And I was wondering when they were going to come back. I saw that John Moxley got the victory. Got to rewatch the pay-per-view, though, and see if the Young Bucks are back. They've been gone for a minute. So that'll be interesting to see how that'll fare with the Young Bucks teaming up with the Death Riders. It appears that storyline's going to keep rocking. So we'll see how that goes. We'll have to tune in for Dynamite and watch the replay of Dynasty. Rockets beat the Warriors. I know, Johnny. I know. You don't have to remind me. It was not Steph's best night. He finished with 3 points on the night. So that was next time. I believe we're still the 5th seed. So, hey, we're still in the playoffs. So that's all good. But we'll get you next time. Jade and Naomi. Yeah, Jade and Naomi for WrestleMania. It'll be the first time that the women will have a one-on-one matchup at WrestleMania. I think ever. But also the first time they had a singles matchup since WrestleMania 22, which was a pillow fight. So I don't know if that one counts. I would love to see Gunther and Breaker. I used to love when Goldberg would fight Scott back in WCW. It was like watching Godzilla versus Kong. Would be down for that. Maybe top moments and wrestlers of WCW video would be good with your thoughts about it. Yeah, that'd be interesting too. Actually, a WCW video. We do a lot of WWE stuff. Um, I don't know what are people's thoughts on WCW or even ECW, but to tackle other promotions certainly would be an interesting topic to share. So yeah, no, that'd be a cool idea too. We currently don't have a poll for Thursday, so maybe we'll have something in line for like that. But I will say, the next time we do go live will be on Thursday. We will go live on Thursday. Like I said previously on the stream, Sunday and Thursday I want to keep as my live streams. Every now and then I might do a Monday. I don't want to hold it to it, just because again I'm going through a transition with my work schedule, and sometimes I won't be able to go live. So on Mondays, that is. Sunday and Thursday I do want to keep, but like I said, the schedule with my job again. I believe Sam was the one that had mentioned it, that I kind of was MIA for a little bit. I missed a couple of days on the live stream. One day I was sick, another day, again, I was just working. So trying to get in the rhythm of it, figuring out that with my schedule, and then hopefully not having it affect this. If it was up to me, hey, I'd be doing this full time, hanging out with you guys, providing my thoughts and analysis on everything pro wrestling. But the Bills wait for nobody. Why did the Young Bucks help John Moxley? We're gonna have to wait and see. I'm thinking maybe they want to rule AEW, and they see that the Death Riders are the top dogs right now, and they're gonna hitch their wagon to them. And if you can't beat them, join them, right? I mean, but we'll see how that goes. Thoughts on Mick Foley's horrific car crash? Dion says Mick is fine. He posted, yeah, that picture of the car was gnarly. What a horrific. I mean, you said it. What a horrific car crash. Thankfully, Mick looked okay, and we hope that everybody that was involved in that incident is okay as well. I don't know about anybody else that was affected by it, but yeah, no, it was a bad wreck, really bad wreck. But I mean, it's Mick Foley, right? This guy's impervious to pain. He is invincible. He is indestructible, and we love Mick Foley here on the J area. But for Monday we will have an upload. I share my top 10 favorite WrestleMania main events of all time. That'll be available to everybody on Monday afternoon. Thursday will be the next time that we will go live. Keep that in mind. Thursday we will go live. Salvi says, I'm so over the Death Riders. Even their merch is garbage. It's literally a plain white t-shirt. Literally, that's their uniform, plain white tee. Shout out to Brian Danielson, who brought in the plain white tee when he debuted. I'm with you though. The Death Riders, like, the one thing I'm John Moxley as a champion, fine, because you got to have that heel figure, and whoever beats him is going to be super over. The one thing I'm done with is the trios. To have Pac, Claudio, and Yuta as the champion and rarely defend it. I'm over that as well. You know, I'm hoping that it's gonna be Osprey that beats Moxley. I thought Swerve had a great shot, but I wasn't gonna really guarantee it. But I'm with you. The AEW stuff is. Eh. I do kind of want to cover more AEW though, but it's just again it depends on what you guys want to talk about. I have thought about in the past doing more lives throughout the week, but they would be shorter. So one thing I'm guessing you guys have noticed is a lot of the lives have been, some of them have been like as long as 3 hours. But again, with the work schedule, I gotta wake up a little bit earlier. I kind of condensed them to about 90 minutes. And I think that's a good time. I think that's a strong time, allowing us an opportunity to come together, share some high points, share our thoughts and opinions and our analysis on what's going on. And it gives us something to look forward to the next live stream. So we'll see. Dion makes a suggestion: WrestleMania 16, the triple threat ladder match, WrestleMania 20, Kurt versus Eddie. Great matches. Great matches. Love them. And I think that could be talking points for other live streams as well. But I will say, I'm talking main events. So for the purpose of the Monday video, it is specifically the matches that close out the show. So although the WrestleMania 20 and 16 matches are iconic and are some of my favorite matches of all time, they do not qualify for that list. Have to be the last one. Have to be the last one. So I think it's a fun video. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it and editing it. The last couple of videos that we've had on Mondays have done fairly well. So that's why I tried to touch the Monday uploads. Our live streams again, like I said, Sunday and Thursday. I'm not gonna mess with those. And again, stick to the community tab. It's your best friend when it comes to the news and updates of the channel. Once again, I want to thank you guys for your consistent support. Thank you guys for always showing up for these live streams and for sharing your thoughts and opinions on pro wrestling, and being able to share my own analysis and thoughts means the world as well, because it gives me purpose when watching these shows. So I always look forward. Kevin, what's going on? Charlotte's going to turn into a villain after this promo collapse against Tiffany. She's already a villain. You know, she's been presented as the heel for the Tiffany Stratton feud, and I think it's the right move because not a lot of people like Charlotte Flair for obvious reasons. I'm not a big fan of hers either. She, you know, kind of reminds me of Hogan, if you will. But also, I think it's because of the insincerity. Do you think Heyman will team with Seth? I don't. I really don't, honestly. I don't. Yeah, I think he's. I don't know what's up. I don't think so. But that's just me calling it right now. I could be wrong. Much love will say also to the chat. It's been real. Enjoy all week. Let's get it. Everyone be blessed. Peace and love. Shout out to Dion as well. A great closing statement there for the live stream. Much love and appreciation from my part. I genuinely look forward to these things with you guys and being able to discuss these topics. Thank you guys for joining me on today's live stream. We're going to call it here. San Fran says roses and reds, violets are blue. San Fran is 5. San Fran 5 is here, and it's damn true. I completely butchered it. I'm sorry, San Fran. But San Fran been putting in some work too. You haven't seen San Fran in a minute, but he's been grinding as well, and we appreciate him as always. Bro, I just got home from work. I'm telling you, he's been grinding. My boy's been grinding. Love it, man. But yeah. And you're ending. Catch it on the archives, buddy. Catch it in the archives. Go Lakers, final message. Oh, come on. You can't. San Fran, you got to hit the final message. You said go Lakers. Close it out for us. Yeah, no, nothing but love. Appreciate you guys for always constantly supporting the channel. We're going through a little bit of a transition period. Again, my work schedule's kind of been interfering, but I promise you, once we get that it's settled and we're able to readjust, we're gonna go. We're gonna go off running. Our goal is to hit 3,000 subs. We're nearly there. I would love to hit 4,000 by the end of the year. By the end of 2K25, let's get to 4,000, guys. You guys have been fantastic with the support and the love that we've received on this stream. Always looking forward to it. I look forward to the next time I see you guys. You'll see me on Monday's upload, but our next live, of course, will be on Thursday. Shout out to San Fran 5 here, who says going to stream one of these days. I want to play 2K25. Still haven't played it. Again, look forward to his stream. San Fran 5 does his gameplay streams on his channel. You can find his link to his channel on my homepage. If you go to the very bottom, you'll see a picture of his thumbnail and his account. So make sure you support him and his channel as well. Speaking of Nepo babies, the Lakers have Bronny on the team. Salvi's not wrong. That's literally the definition of a Nepo baby. Great point there by Salvi. But yeah, once again, guys, we're going to go ahead and close it out. Everyone have a great night. Have a great week. Everyone kill it. Do whatever you got to do, whether it's work, whether it's school, whether it's killing it with your hobbies, whatever it is, give it 110%, and you'll never fail. Love each and every one of you guys. Everyone have a great evening. We look forward to seeing you on our next live on Thursday. We're going to give out another 5 gifted memberships on Thursday streams. Can't wait to see you guys. And again, shout out to our members of the Main Event Mafia here, San Fran 5, Sylvia, Sam, Johnny, everyone that's been on here. I'm trying to catch everybody as I can as I run up the chat here. Welcome our new members as well, Johnny, Daniel, Zay, DSW Wrestling, and the Tantalizing Tag Team Podcast. All love, all support. Can't wait to see you guys. And for the last one, San Fran 5 says, we want the gold, sucker. Hulk Hogan, we're coming for you. Everyone have a great night. We'll see you again Thursday on that Thursday stream. All love.